about incels is like, they always make it women's fault, right? And the lesson I get out of that, ladies, is really, it is our fault. Because we should have fucked more weirdos in high school. That's the only thing I can take out of the news, right? They're like, Timothy killed 14 people. No one ever let him smell their You be like, God damn it, I should have. Should have let him touch my titty in gym something. It's my fault. It's my fault. It's my fault. Every woman in here right now can think back to a weird dude in high school, like, I should have let him sniff my butt. I should have let him. You wouldn't be fucking collecting samurai swords if I let him flick my nipple once.
Don't seem to have any direction in life, whereas I know exactly where I'm going and what I want, and I don't want to have to babysit someone.
You ever seen one of these? Huh? You know what this is? Huh?
No.
Yeah, it's holy water. Huh? Yeah? Try it. Yeah? How's that feel? Yeah? You like that? Yeah? Power of Christ compels you, bitch.
God damn it, I should have.
Power of Christ compels you, bitch.
Oh my God!
Hello, 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 all of my fabulous, beautiful people, and how are you all doing today? I hope that you are all doing amazingly, fabulously well. What's up? Make sure you say hello when you get here, you fucking lurkers. Anyway, so today we are going to be talking about incels, but not just any incels. Oh no, we are specifically talking about Christian. Yes, the Christian incels today. So, there has been this really funny dating show. It's like a speed dating show. I'm sure you guys have heard of it. I personally adore watching Cody Ko. He's one of my favorite people out here, and he actually reacts to the button like constantly all the time. But I don't remember him doing this episode. And I had somebody send it to me the other day, and honestly, I was like, oh my God, how have I never seen this? How has Cody Ko, as far as I know, not made it on my timeline with this? What is happening? But there was the best ever Christian incel on the button of all things that were like, you think of all the places that you would see a Christian incel, you know, church is one of them, maybe the park even, maybe your Nana's house. I don't know what your family's like, but the button, the speed dating show, is not one of them. Not one of the places where you would think you would find a Christian incel. Hello, Shaw. Good to see you. You're going to go live, but you're not fast enough for these stay-at-home moms. I was up super early this morning because the kiddo was up super early this morning. And then we still managed to be late for school because she took forever to eat breakfast. And I am one of those moms that is like, eat food before you go to school. My husband's also very like, eat food. You have to eat before you go. So we were late. But I still managed to, end up live after I decided I'd be half an hour late also for this live. I'm having a day, girl. I'm having a day today. Hello, unfucking believable. Good to see you. I'm glad you're here. I hope that the burbs are doing very, very well. Hello, Joe. So glad you're here. You're always up super early because you work at like 5 a.m. doing the Lord's work. So this person is asking a very good question. I don't blame them. A lot of people are out here calling me a bigot all over the internet. So I don't blame people when they come across me and then they're like, oh my God, this girl is saying that all Christian men are incels. I'm sure that, for people that don't know me, you might believe that. That is not at all what I am saying. I have no problems with people that want to believe in God whatsoever. In fact, I would really like you to subscribe to my channel if you are a Christian, because one of the things that I speak out about is Christian cults. And that's not to rag on Christianity, even though I'm atheist and a lot of the friends that I have out here are people that maybe debate religion and whatnot. I choose not to debate religion. It is none of my business what you choose to believe. If you want to be a believer in God, that is completely fine. I was raised very Roman Catholic my whole life. I even worked at church camp when I was in high school. Yes, I was a counselor at church camp for 2 summers. So I myself am religious. Like, with my background, I was forced to be. When I became an atheist, I decided that one of the things I wasn't going to do is hate on people just for being Christian, because I believe that as someone that grew up that way, and as someone who still has family that very strongly believes, it's not my business to tell you what to believe, to tell anyone what to believe. But you do need to be aware that people are going to use your faith to do faith manipulation tactics on you, to make you join things like cults, multi-level marketing schemes, even cults of personality, and other extremist groups. We've connected people using faith manipulation to try to get people to join the alt-right and the violent alt-right, for example. And that is the type of thing that I like to speak out about here. I speak out about extremist belief systems, all extremist belief systems. So in order for you to be on my radar, you have to be very, very extreme, and you have to be probably someone that's going around judging people. The reason why this sir is an incel is not only because he's Christian, although I have found that there is, like I'm saying, a huge connection, unfortunately, to Christianity, the alt-right, and incels. And I have been looking into this for like 4 years now. Okay. Every time that I went to even talk about anti-vaxxers, I would come across these people. Anytime I would go and talk about MLMs, I would come across these people. There are even several Mormons that are like this. I got to be hit on by one. It was very amazing. So I'm a little experienced in this realm over here. And this dude's an incel because of his misogynistic belief system towards women, which he manages to show us in a very short time with his appearance on this show, which should let you know how bad it is, right? You got to think, if we can watch this episode of The Button and within a few minutes kind of sit there and go, oh God, this guy's a Christian incel. And I'm not the only one calling him that. He's been reacted to before. I'm not first to the party here. I'm fashionably late. So you got to think, if we can see it in that amount of time, what is he like the rest of the time that he is here on this earth? How is he acting? And it's probably not good. So yeah. And one of the things that this incel does is he uses his faith as a shield, I would say. So that is why. That is why. Now, if in order to be an incel, we'll get into what it takes, but you do have to be involuntary celibate, of course. That's what it is. I believe that a lot of the ones that I personally like to cover, like I said, they tend to be really extremist in their Christian beliefs, to the point where they will downright attack me and my family because we're atheists. Like, they just hate me. They cannot get along with people with different views. I'm noticing a lot of people out here cannot get along with people if they have different belief systems than them. It seems to be a thing. And a lot of times, honestly, and I don't know if this is also because of the connection to the alt-right, or especially the violent alt-right, a lot of times they are racist. So think of a very, very angry, probably closer to violent alt-right dude who has awful beliefs about women, awful beliefs about anyone with a different ethnical background or different race than theirs, which they're probably a white male. Although incels, as we're learning, can be all races and all cultures. They just end up being racist to themselves, which I don't really understand that. I don't know how you can do that. But anyway, and you have to be a very angry person. And in order to be on my radar, especially, you have to be public. So, I mean, I'm not going around looking at the deepest depths of the internet to go and find people with 2 subscribers to yell at, right? Like Unfucking Believable says, the 2 are not mutually exclusive. And it is true. Like I said, we're finding out, this year, as we're diving deepest we've ever gone, Lord help us all, that incels are not all just white males. They are not all Christian, right? There's incels of every single background, and they're not even all right, which is a little strange. So I think the main thing is that you're involuntarily celibate, hate women, and just view women as the reason why, and society as the reasons why you're celibate. We already know you were up super early. I'm sorry, Joe. I accidentally put that on the screen. Shaw says, I was up early too. Doctor's appointment. Everything's fine. It was just a checkup. Good. My husband had one of those today. Also, hello, Iconic. I hope that you are doing well. Hello, Muddy. Good to see you. I hope you're having a fantastic day. I'm an equal opportunity offender. Yes. That is the thing. Brandon the Bear says, hello from the 12 tribes. Hello. She still prays Hail Marys when she's sleeping. Do you know what? It is funny to think of my religious background, because I did do the whole 9 yards. Like I was baptized, I did first communion, I did first confession, I did confirmation, I did the whole thing. Then I went and worked at church camp. I mean, I couldn't have been more Christian, right? Growing up, like you couldn't have been. But like I said, our issue here isn't that he's Christian. It's how he's using his Christianity. And the good news is that even other Christians look at these people and go, what the fuck is wrong with them? Stop using my faith for that. Along with a lot of the other people that we cover over here that love to use faith manipulation. Hello, Six. I love you too. I hope you're having a fantastic day. So, just to give us a little refresher before we go in and watch, I have actually looked up all of the information I could in terms of how incels are viewed by religious people. This is called the Bible's Answers. So this is a website that people who are Christian go to, and they can ask questions in relation to, of course, religion, the Bible, anything to do with Christianity, I'm sure. And then this website, who is run by pastors, they will answer the questions, if you will. So I thought it would be a great place to get some of our information from today, because they actually came on here and asked, what is an incel? I mean, even these guys know that there's some connection, right? So they say the term incel is short for involuntary celibate. Incel is a self-identifier used by a group who particularly resent their ability to have a relationship, specifically a sexual relationship. The concept originally included a wide range of backgrounds and applied to different kinds of people who felt especially lonely, rejected by society, or spurned by sexual partners. And I do think that those are the 3 main traits as well someone has to have. Like I said, they blame society. Over time, the self-applied label has become more limited. It now applies mostly to those with an especially bitter, cynical attitude towards sexuality, women, and Western society in general. Incels, mostly young, straight, white males, again, mostly, but it's not inclusive to that, as we're finding out, And they feel betrayed or disappointed by a lack of sexual or romantic experience. And they are the product of 3 toxic aspects of modern culture. So now we're kind of blaming modern culture, and I don't know, maybe that is part of the problem. So number 1, the victim mentality. The rejection incels feel is a result of the consistent suggestion that not getting what you want is primarily because some person, group, or culture is oppressing or persecuting you. And I believe that has something to do as well with the incel connection to the alt-right. The alt-right tends to believe right now that men are being really oppressed. And so incels, and again, it's like...
I am oppressed.
Shut up, Trevor. Incels basically use that, if you will. So it's a chicken or the egg situation. We're not sure which one started first, but they are connected. Number 2 is the idolization of sex. A lot of them are still virgins, even. And I find if they have not gotten laid, they're even worse than the ones who have been laid in the past and then are just not getting laid right now. I'm throwing it out there. It's true. The bitterness nurtured by incels can be traced to a belief that any and all sexual desires or inclinations must be accepted, celebrated, and fulfilled. So they're those types of guys that could believe, for example, that if they're married, that they can ask for sex and that the wife does not have a right to be like, no, sweetie, I'm too tired tonight. Because it is her duty to fulfill that need, if you will. They believe sex is owed to them. They're like the r/nice guys, as I've brought up before. We've been covering those for ages. And that's what it is. It's like, oh, I'm nice to this woman. She now owes me sex. If she doesn't give me sex, I have now been rejected and I have a right to be upset and I'm a victim. That's what happens. And then it just feeds into itself, right? Number 3 is, of course, the echo chamber. And this is a good point as well. They say the isolation experienced by incels is due to their ability, greatly enhanced by the internet. Everything's the internet's fault. If it's not Joe's fault or my fault, it's the internet's fault. To surround oneself with like-minded people while completely ignoring other healthier perspectives. They reject them completely. This social media contact, ironically, leads to even further isolation and loneliness, especially for them in real life. They tend to live on the computer after a while. Extremist views such as those of incels are often fed by legitimate concerns. Lack of healthy, loving relationships inspires loneliness and depression. Those who would be satisfied with modest sexual experience grow resentful when extreme sexual tastes are celebrated and promoted. A feeling that their experiences are being ignored or even mocked, which I'll admit, yeah, okay, maybe we do that here, leads people to gather with like-minded persons to validate perceived victimhood. In the absence of a biblical worldview, those factors can merge into extremism, venting hatred at anyone perceived as an oppressor. Because again, they don't only hate the women, they also hate other men that can get the woman, right? I mean, that's a big part of the problem too. Good morning, Amanda. You say, I'm born again Christian. Outward things do not make you a Christian. Those are just religious activities. Exactly. It's a change of heart inside and knowing Jesus. And there are a lot of people who do believe that most organized religions are cults. I'm not sure. I think it's too much of a blanket statement to really say that. But I think it's a very good thing to believe that religion is your relationship with God, no matter what that looks like for you. Whether it's going to church, whether it's just praying in your living room, whether it's having an altar, whether it's like whatever it is that you need to do to have a relationship with that deity that you believe in. That's what's important, right? And as long as you're doing that and you're not hurting anyone, because that doesn't hurt anyone, then you're good. As long as you're not using these beliefs to manipulate others into bad things, you're good, right? I mean, there's nothing wrong with believing in things. It's what that gets used for that we have a problem with here. I mock everyone. Same here. We mock every single person. So they say here that some who find themselves under these stresses call themselves incels, who failure to establish meaningful or fulfilling relationships leads them to the thicket of misogyny, misanthropy, and bitterness. They interpret their lack of romantic or sexual fulfillment as proof or prejudice or persecution against them. You'll see that with Warhammer a lot. Extremism among incels varies. A minority openly advocate rape or assault, and unfortunately that's true. In recent years, several high-profile mass shooters in the US have been linked to the incel community. Not just in the US, also here in Canada, as I pointed out, we had several in Toronto even. Targets of their hatred include women, non-incel men, as I pointed out, they also hate chads, if you will, and others who are seen as contributors to the problem. So like anyone that works in government, for some reason, they all seem to really hate the FBI. Not really sure what they did wrong, but anyway. Abuse me, Shaw, and I will still love you, sis. Shaw abuses us all the time. Like all the time. Good morning, things. And yes, there are a lot of false prophets out there. Exactly. That's the problem. For sure. Now, this is where it gets interesting, right? So as I've pointed out, there is a connection for some reason, like I keep saying, with like the alt-right, with Christianity, with inceldom, misogyny, etc., blah, blah, blah. That all seems to go hand in hand. And I think most people that are covering those topics out here, I think we can all agree on that. Still not really sure what feeds into what first. But there's a connection. So remember, this is coming from pastors now, because this is when they get into what the Bible says, right? And I think it's important if we're going to be judging this person today. Obviously, the incel mindset contradicts much of what the Bible says about human value, sexuality, and community. And it's funny because, like I say, a lot of the incels seem to think that they're following what the Bible says. This is coming from someone who preaches the Bible. So does a culture that breeds loneliness and unbiblical sexual expression both need to be countered with truth? Incels need to know that God intends sex to be special and sacred, and that their value, this is also important, it is not determined by whom they sleep with. And that is one of the main things that incels believe, right? That's like the whole problem. They think their value is determined that way. They just live to get with women. And it's like, dude, life is so much more than that. You're missing out. Isolation and the sense of being deprived are negative factors that the gospel and Christian fellowship can ease. At the same time, it's important to realize that extreme attitudes don't develop in a vacuum. And then we go back to blaming Western culture, because it's not the fault of the Bible. Western culture currently sends all kinds of false messages. But this, I think, again, we can all agree with. I mean, the media is fucked. It really does send all kinds of mixed messages. I'm sure you remember being a preteen and trying to figure it all out, right? It's fucked up. That is one of the major issues out here that causes problems with everything. Like, let's be real. Not just incels, not just Christianity, not just anything like that, but literally it's the root of all evil. So, they send out all kinds of false messages, such as, sex is no big deal. Everyone should have their sexuality celebrated. All sex is good sex. People who don't have sex are losers. Flaunting one's sexuality is a right to be defended at all costs, and so forth. Now, of course, some of those things, they're a little tainted with the fact that the Bible does have its certain beliefs about how sex should be, and we'll get into that. But at least they're telling them the incels wrong, okay? Incels have been misled to think they are being spiteful, denied something that is supposedly cheap, common, and critically important. Right? A biblical response will confront two things: culture's incorrect attitudes about sex and relationships, and the negative responses people may have to their own experience. Embracing a biblical view of sexuality and self-worth is the answer to the incel mindset. So I think that then we need to know, what is a biblical view of sexuality, right? I mean, what the hell does that mean? Humans and sexuality. Including all its physical, emotional, and spiritual intricacies, was God's invention. Remember that, Christians? He gave sexuality to his human creations as a gift with two functions: to perpetuate the human race and to create an intimate bond between husband and wife. So see, I like this answer because there are some sects of religion which will be like, listen, you don't have sex for pleasure. It's just to reproduce. And I think that's a very outdated thought, and that would feed into the inceldom so much more than what I'm reading here. So I can get on board with this. Even me and my atheist ass, okay, can read this and go, yeah, that's what Christian people should be told. The right use of sexuality leads us to understand intimacy with God in greater ways. The wrong use of it destroys intimacy with God and substitutes sexuality in his place. So you don't want to do that, right? In order to understand the biblical view of sexuality, we will examine its multifaceted nature, one aspect at a time. Trust me, it's not long. I'm not going to keep you here for 10 years reading. The first mention of sexuality in the Bible is in the Garden of Eden. God told Adam and Eve to be fruitful and multiply, filling the earth. That is Genesis 1:27 to 28, a command that necessitates sex. Shortly after that, we read that Adam knew his wife Eve and she conceived. That's Genesis 4:1. That use of the word knew is a more complete translation of the concept than more modern phrases such as had sexual relationships with or fucked, right? It suggests much more than a physical act. When Adam knew his wife, the first couple was experiencing sexuality the way God had gifted it to them. It was a gift for both genders, not just for men. I'm just throwing that out there. Sex was to be unifying action they entered into together that was to be unlike any other connection. It was specially designed by their creator to be the single most intimate action two humans could experience. Within covenant marriage, sexual union is a binding force that draws the couple together as one flesh. That's Genesis 2:24 and Matthew 19:6. They discover and share with each other in ways that are exclusive to the couple and creates a sacred unity. She gave me some floppage and some slack, if you know what I mean. Yeah. Thanks for stopping by, Amanda. Have a great day. I do know what you mean. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. It goes on to say, whatever God creates, Satan perverts. So technically, if you an incel, you following Satan. Okay? You're following Satan, and then we end up having to get you a damn exorcist or something.
Power of Christ compels you, bitch.
We just don't want that. That's not good. Not good for anyone. It did not take long for fallen humanity to distort and destroy God's sacred gift of sexuality. By the time God gave the law to the Israelites, he had to forbid all sorts of sexual perversions that were accepted by the cultures at the time. God had already designated one man for one woman since creation, but now had to clarify and forbid all manner of perversions people had invented. And as the population of the earth increased, God tightened the ethical boundaries about marrying close relatives. Leviticus 18 and 19 detail many of those forbidden practices, such as sex with a close family member, adultery, and it says here homosexuality, but if you want one day, I will prove to you how the Bible is also not against homosexuality. That could be a fun stream. It says here, although polygamy was tolerated during Old Testament times, partially due to the lack of options for single women and the need for men to have many sons for survival of the family line, the practice was fairly non-existent by New Testament times. In fact, Jesus reiterated God's initial purpose for marriage when asked about divorce. In Matthew 19, 3-6, Jesus said, "At the beginning, the Creator made them male and female and said, for this reason, a man will leave his father and mother and be united to his wife, and the two will become one flesh. So they are no longer two, but one flesh. Therefore, what God has joined together, let no one separate. Being the husband of only one wife was a requirement for church leadership." 1 Timothy 3:2 and 12, and then Titus 1:6. A significant percentage of the world's problems stems directly or indirectly from our abuse of God's gift of sexuality. Imagine the world we would have if every human being followed God's standards for sexuality. Now, this is the part I don't agree with. Because then they go on to say abortions, divorce, STD, AIDS. I mean, yeah, okay, we don't need divorce, although there's good reasons to get a divorce. Abortions are necessary. We need those, especially for medical purposes. Please don't take that away. I am not about that. I am pro-life. STDs we could do without. AIDS we could do without. It's an STD, isn't it? Pornography is fabulous. Definitely do not get rid of pornography. And don't even lie. I know that there's men out there and they like their pornography too. So don't be getting rid of that. That's not good. No one's happy about that. Sex trafficking, fatherless children and single mothers. I mean, if you gotta do it, hello, coolest people ever. You ever try being one of those? All right, I wouldn't be able to. I thank the God up above for my husband every day, okay? Rape we can do without. Abandoned babies we can do without. And yes, we should probably kill all the pedophiles. But, you know, there are some things I have an issue with, but whatever. At least they're telling the incels that they have a wrong view of sexuality and how they should treat women. I like that much. So they're saying that, you know, if everyone followed God's standards for sexuality, all of those things that I just listed off would all cease or be greatly reduced. The ripple effects of those changes alone would completely transform every continent, every nation, and every culture. Economies would rebound, disease would plummet, and mental hospitals would have empty beds. Again, no, but it's a beautiful thought, isn't it? God knows what he is talking about when he includes boundaries with his gifts. Electricity is an incredible discovery, and if used correctly, benefits all mankind. Used wrongly, however, electricity can maim or kill. So it is with the power of human sexuality, when we seek to live within the healthy boundaries God instituted for our well-being, sexuality is once again a good gift. I think that from that we should take that men out there of the world, instead of being an incel, have a healthy relationship with women and sexuality, and know that God wanted that for you. Because, that's important. I think it's important. So now, I think we got to look at, look at what it says about Christianity and men. I found this really great article that goes into Andrew Tate, Christian incels, blah, 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 blah. At the end of this, I will go and put all the links down below. But here's a good little synopsis of basically what this whole belief system is, if you will. And then we will get right on to the video, I promise you. Christian young men often say from the disaffection, divided and deprived situation Tate speaks into. That is Andrew Tate and all of the bullshit he speaks about misogyny and about how to get women and yada, yada, yada. I've covered him on this channel before, so go and check that out if you haven't. I'm sure you're well aware of Andrew Tate being the god of the incels besides Elliot Rodger. He says that often fatherless men themselves may well be sucked in by some of Tate's methods for self-improvement. They will try to rationalize Tate's more jarringly inappropriate statements as unnecessarily detracting from what they see as better points. So this is how the incels are viewing it. Some on social media have even come to Tate's defense following his recent arrest, ignoring the wealth of evidence from Tate's own testimony that he is guilty of grooming, coercion, and exploitation of women. But as we know, the incels don't care about that. I mean, they love Elliot Rodger. They look up to guys that go out there and murder women. So that stuff is small crimes to them, right? Or they believe Andrew Tate's innocent. And again, we've talked about that before here. Tragically, there will be young men who try to marry a Christian lifestyle with Tate's principles in their relationships or pursuit of the same. This is why I brought this up. Perhaps finding Tate unpalatable and too problematic, they may well seek out professing Christian teachers who can scratch their itching ears with hyper patriarchal language. So a lot of misogyny, right? Then this person goes on to say, I have personally seen the negative impact of Tate-esque Christian leaders like Doug Wilson and Michael Foster in the lives and relationships of their followers. Tragically, in seeking help from such sources, perhaps even Andrew Tate, the man himself, many young men lacking wisdom and balance are in serious danger of consigning themselves to live as incels, unable to meaningfully or helpfully communicate, particularly with those of the opposite sex. And that's kind of my point in covering this, is that it's not just bad for women. You know, I'm not out here as a feminist. I'm not out here as some woman that's LARPing on, you gotta believe all the women and love women and know all the women. And okay, that's not me. If you think that's me, you got the wrong girl. I get canceled all the time for not being left enough. Okay, I'm not famous on here because I'm not left. I'm Canadian, and I'm in the center too much, and I don't do identity politics, and I don't kiss ass. So, it's a little bit of a problem. I'm trying to find out where I can sit. There we go. That's better, isn't it? So, I'm not out here LARPing like that. My point in all of this, besides incels are obviously treating women bad, they're bad for women. Hello, Insolent Violet. Happy Friday. My point with all of these streams is also to reach out to the men and say, listen, this is not okay. They're fucking you over. They're going to put you in that friend zone forever, baby. You're going to be in the friend zone until all the women around you go into old age. They're not going to want a thing to do with you. Because you are going to be so wrapped up in this hustle culture and this gym max culture and this is how you pick up women culture. And in these fucking message boards, just hating on society and women, you're going to basically isolate yourself and then make it so that no one wants to be around you because you're so miserable. That's not good for men. We do not want young men in our world. And I know there's mothers out there of sons, right? We do not want our young men in this world to grow up with people like this that they're looking up to. People like the Andrew Tates, the Doug Wilsons, the Michael Fosters, people like No Fat Nick, okay? We do not need those people. We do not want those people. And if they are going to exist, because again, I don't believe in deplatforming and censorship. So I get canceled all the time too. So my whole thing is, since they exist and we cannot stop them from existing, because they're going to do what they're going to do. Boys will be boys. I didn't want to say it, but there it is. My thing is, then we also need a lot of information out here that combats that. Okay? We also need men and women to come out and speak out against this stuff and say this is not good. Not only not good for women, but hey, it's not good for the young dudes of our world today. And we can't have this. This isn't a feat like, hey, hashtag save all the women. This is hashtag save society. We're going downhill. We are going downhill. We are all going to fucking hell.
Power of Christ compels you, bitch.
Okay, so that's what it's about. For me, anyway. For me, that's what it's about. It says this can and does carry over into church life. Women will be disrespected, talked down to, ignored, denigrated, and generally viewed as less trustworthy, even when carrying out their God-given and ordained responsibilities in family and church life to the best of their ability. In a vicious cycle, female victims of such treatment will often begin to view men and male leadership in particular with suspicion. And ladies and gentlemen, incels of the world, all my wannabe Giga Chads out there, that's how you create femcells. And that's also how you create feminism. Yes, did you know that you're actually adding to the problems and creating the very thing that you claim to hate? I'm just throwing it out there. We throw the spades here. What you do with them after that, I'm not responsible. So women start looking at men with suspicion and through the lens of their hurt and offenses against them. The presentation of biblical complementarity, Jesus, learn to read, in relationships is consequently viewed as equivalent to patriarchy, and this almost always leads to a response that veers toward extreme feminism. I didn't read that yet, but look at that. Even he knew. That's what causes it. So you are causing, all of you men out there on your incels diet IS boards right now, you're all viciously typing, there's some fucking queen of karma bitch that keeps covering our fucking forums. She's been bothering us for fucking 4 years. Fucking hoe. Fucking stupid Stacy. Make sure you also start writing, holy fuck, we're causing feminism. What are we going to do? We hate feminism. Okay, because you should spread that word instead. Spread that one. Now, of course, the Bible's against feminism. I don't know why. They tend not to go well together. But I feel like a lot of what this guy here is saying does come off as wanting men to respect women. And my whole thing is, honestly, if you are Christian and you do believe in God and you do believe in the sanctity of marriage and blah, 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 the best thing you can do for yourself is respect women. That's how you will have a healthy marriage. So you will meet a healthy woman, a good woman. You go around acting like an asshole, you're only going to attract real bad women. And remember, you don't want those ones, right? You don't want the Beckys, you want the Stacys. So see how it causes problems? You're doing it to yourself. So they say, so what can you do? Tragically, many cannot see that their view of masculinity and femininity is driven more by culture than by Christ. So if you are religious out there, check yourself. Pastors, teachers, evangelists, Sunday school teachers and members, whoever you are in the life of the local church, you have a responsibility before God to be discipled and to discipline in a way that is practical and relevant for Christian living in the present day. Teach positivity on biblical masculinity and femininity. Don't shy away from pinpointed discipleship on tough topics from the pulpit. Introduce spaces for men and women to share openly. Andrew Tate is popular because he sets a model, a paradigm even, of how to live, apparently, right? We serve Jesus Christ, who calls us to live in imitation of him, not Andrew Tate, of Jesus, all right? If you're a Christian, you're not supposed to be following Andrew Tate like he's a god or Elliot Rodger. No. Jesus. Can we, in humility, say to our young men and women, like Paul says to the Philippians, imitate me as I imitate Christ. And that's from Corinthians 11:1. If we strive to live in such a way ourselves, I truly believe the impact we have can provide a healing balm to the wounds caused by the harmful ideologies espoused by Andrew Tate and others. Coming from a pastor, by the way. Our words alone accomplish nothing. Let's live in such a way that shows the beauty of what it means to a man or woman in Christ. And as you see, this was written by Regan King. He is the pastor at the Angel Church in London. And so as a pastor, I mean, you got to listen to the dude. Oh, Christian men of the world. I think it was a very good read. I'll drop you guys the link right now to that one. Jesus, amen. Robin. Shaw and I worship the flying spaghetti monster instead. So, ramen. But I feel like that's a beautiful view. I mean, that's as good as we're going to get. Listen, atheists, that's as good as we're going to get. Where Christians are saying, listen, let's respect women and not be all incel and extremist, okay? So I liked that. Woo! Robin! So I thought that we would give that a read before we just went ahead and reacted. So I had to, of course, mirror this and speed it up a bit because I'm not sure how these guys are about copyright and etc. So don't mind that. But without further ado, I'm going to give you I'm about to give to you all. Sorry, my husband just called at me to ask me if I was going to get ready to go out soon. And I'm like, yes, I'm almost done. Thank you. I am going to give to you all what you came here for. The button. An incel Christian on the button.
Power of Christ compels you, bitch.
So let's go.
For sure. I don't know if I have like a specific purpose in that.
There's no goal that accompanies it. You don't seem to have any direction in life, whereas I know exactly where I'm going and what I want, and I don't want to have to babysit someone.
Okay, so that is him. That's just your first impression. They knew to use him for the opening because they knew that would grab our attention. So again, I got this from The Cut, and it is the game show The Button. They're about to describe how it goes, and that is our lovely Christian Incel. Just got a little peek into what we're about to experience here.
Welcome to The Button, a speed dating show. When the button lights up red, either player may press it and swap out their date for a new person.
Get out of here.
If 2 people can last on a date for 10 minutes, they win an all expenses paid second date.
This is The Button.
Hello,
My name's Serena.
Serena.
What's
Nice
your
to meet
name?
you. I'm Mo.
Mo. Okay, what's a big ick for you?
What's a big ick for you? I'm sorry. It's just such a weird way of putting that.
Like hygiene. Oh my
Hygiene.
God.
Can he smell your armpit?
Well, I guess we could not have him be with Shani then.
The fuck? No, I barely know him. I don't want like a stranger to touch me. Like he seems totally chill, but like I barely even hug my mom.
Why would the button ask if he let her smell the armpit? That's so weird. Oh yeah, I'm really into hygiene. Okay, smell her armpit. Next time, ask him to smell her butt like a dog. That should work.
Physical touch is not your love language.
It's just like culturally, it's not super common. Nice to meet you. Yes. Oh.
It's so funny how the button lights up and then they both will go to hit it. And there's been times where it doesn't light up and the person goes to hit it. Ooh, that's never good. That's never good.
Hi, I'm
Austin.
Serena.
Absolute
nice
pleasure.
to meet you.
Tell me what you live for, what you plan to die for.
My cat.
So this is our dude. He comes right out. Hi! She says her name, introduces herself. I don't know if they just cut it out because it is The Cut. If he introduces himself or not. But basically, he gets right to it. So he's like, tell me like what you live for and what you would die for. A little intense, dude.
Cats.
Do you believe they have souls?
I mean, I don't know if I believe in souls necessarily.
I don't have a soul. Sorry, I had to do that. Do you believe in souls? So you're on a speed date. This is like the first, you've literally just met this guy, as you witnessed. And that's what he's asking you. What would you live for? What would you die for? Do you believe in souls?
Power of Christ compels you, bitch.
Yeah, when does the button light up? She's like, get him out of here.
Because I'm not religious.
And
But I
relative
do
to humans as well?
I believe there's
Oh, do you believe in magic? There you go.
Relative to humans as well?
Well, I believe there's consciousness, right? Were you born Christian after?
I was, but I rejected it in majority pretty
Why
much
did you reject it?
because I just wasn't really about it. I didn't want to get
Who got it first?
Ooh. So it sounds like he said that he rejected Christianity or something there. I feel like I need to listen to that again.
I rejected it in majority pretty
Why
much.
did you reject it?
What did you reject? Did you grow up Christian?
Consciousness, right? Were you born Christian after?
I was, but I rejected it in majority pretty
Why
much
did you reject it?
because I just
Okay, so yeah. So she says that she believes that the soul is more like consciousness, which, yeah, okay. Weird question. Iconic says, I am a ginger. I too have no soul. Neither does my husband, as a ginger as well. And so after they get the soul stuff out of the way, she says, so did you grow up Christian? And he says, no, I didn't. I rejected it. So you're like, okay, like, so you didn't believe, your family did. You didn't believe. So then what the fuck, dude? Just watch.
wasn't really about it. I didn't want to get
Who got it first?
He's like, I didn't want to do it. I didn't want to be a Christian. And then, of course, the button lights up and they both go to hit it as quick as possible. Hello, Steve. I hope you're having a fantastic Friday. We almost need to see that little part again, too. Like, it lights up. They're both like, ah, get it. She's like, get this incel out of here. And he's like, listen, this bitch has no soul.
I just wasn't really about it. I didn't want to get
Oh,
Who got it first?
me 100%.
Yeah.
did you see that? Who got it first? He goes, me, 100%. Like, just so serious. So serious, my dude.
I don't believe in God.
I can tell.
Yeah.
oh, I don't believe in God. He goes, I can tell.
Power of Christ compels you, bitch.
Are you just saying that because her skirt's a little short? I mean, what's going on here, dude? I can tell. You want to know what we can tell about you? I'll just keep it to myself. And you know what? Maybe it's a good thing that you hit the button because that laugh. No, we're not doing that. No.
How you doing?
How are you doing?
Good. Austin.
Mochi.
Hey,
Nice to
absolute
meet
pleasure.
you.
Yeah.
Guys, what were you up to this week?
Nothing really that interesting. Kind of sat at home.
Oh my God, she's pretty much a ginger. So she doesn't have a soul either. What are we going to do? Now that's some nice thigh meat right there. Uh-huh. So I was like, I'll take the woman home with the dress.
I just got out of the military, so I'm looking for work and all that. So in a transition period.
He just got out of the military. Now, you saw that dude. Does he appear to be someone that just got out of the military? And he's like, oh, so I'm in between work. Oh, yeah? Seem a little judgy for someone that doesn't have a job and is on a speed dating show called The Button on YouTube. I'm just throwing that out there.
I tried to get in the military twice, and they did not want my ass.
How long were you passionate for that?
Not at all.
No,
They did not want my ass. That's because it was too good of an ass, sweetie.
Came away?
It was a minor thing.
So what do you hope to achieve in your life?
I want to travel a lot for sure. I don't know if I have like a specific purpose in that.
There's no goal that accompanies it. You don't seem to have.
There's no goal that accompanies it. Okay, so again, you're on a date. Someone says, what do you want to do in the next several years or whatever? A lot of people are going to be like, oh, I don't know. Not everyone has that 5-year plan or 10-year plan or whatever. But this guy, he has it. And he is super serious. Super duper serious about it, okay? Because he hit that button and watch what he has to say to her.
Any direction in life, whereas I know exactly where I'm going and what I want. And granted, that's nothing wrong with that, but because I know where I'm at and where I'm going, I don't want to have to babysit someone to where I.
There's nothing wrong with that, but I don't want to babysit you, the incel says.
am. So,
Valid.
hello, pleasure, Austin.
Hi, Austin.
Yes.
All right, so his name is Austin. Austin, the Christian incel. Austin, the Christian incel.
Power of Christ compels you, bitch.
Interesting.
Nice to meet you.
What's your name?
Irish.
Irish?
Yeah.
I like that. How'd you get that name?
It's cute. A little too cute for him, but it's almost like if Niccolo and Shaggy had a love child, it would be this guy. It would be Austin.
I just gave it to you. They didn't.
Yeah, well, they looked at me and they thought.
Oh my God.
Very well.
So what are you into? What are your hobbies?
I'm a writer, musician, martial arts. I'm into like theology.
Tell me more.
He's martial arts. We all know he has that samurai sword, right? Yeah.
What more?
Like,
you wanna know?
the difference between like Jesus Christ and God.
What is the difference? Oh my God, this guy's gonna lose it. So he's crazy Christian, and this woman just asked him, what is the difference between Jesus Christ and God? So she's obviously not religious and doesn't know much about religion. Oh God, this is not gonna go well.
Okay, Jesus Christ is God, but if you want to like go against other religions, you can see how Islam talks about Muhammad as a sole prophet.
Oh my gosh. Oh my God.
What was your name?
Austin.
I'm Allie.
It's a very pleasure.
Wait, did he take his glasses off? Someone go and tell him that he looked like a nerd and to take his glasses off. Because now all of a sudden he doesn't have his glasses on. He's like, do you know why none of these girls want to date me? Even though I'm the one pressing the button all the time? Because they're not Christian, they have no souls. It's because I got the glasses. That must be it. If I take off the glasses, one of them will go home with me.
Very pleasure to meet you too. I like your style.
Thank you.
You look like you.
Oh my God, this girl is so cute. Way too cute for this guy.
read books.
I try to read, but I'm not really adept at reading if I'm
Well, he can't read right now because he took his damn glasses off.
like completely honest.
I don't know why your aesthetic was giving reads books, but it was a compliment.
I take it as such, so I appreciate it.
How important is faith?
How important is faith? for you?
100%. And at the end of the day, if you reject Christ the King, it's a no-go.
So you're a Christian.
100%.
Cool.
So his whole thing is he's a Christian and he has to be with another woman that's a Christian. It's very important to him. So instead of him going to, let's say, his local church and meeting a nice woman there, he decided to reach out to a speed dating reality show that's on YouTube. Oh yeah, no, great thinking, dude. Great thinking. Yep. That's what you should do.
Cool. I'm a Christian too.
Excellent. As a Christian, can you tell me a little bit about the gospel of Jesus Christ and how that goes?
Whoa, I feel like that's putting anyone on the spot. I don't think it's really that fair to be like, tell me all about the Bible right now, the gospel of Jesus Christ, or else you're not a real Christian. But, you know, maybe that's just me.
Yeah, I mean, like, the gospel is basically that Jesus was here and died for our sins, and yeah, his spirit guides us.
Is that the same Jesus who died and rose again 3 days later?
Yes.
Yes, because see, there are some Christians that don't believe in that part. So he has to make sure she's one of the Christians that does believe that he rose again. It must be very important to him. That's why, again, he came on the button to find love instead of going to his local church.
Believe in the resurrection?
Yes.
Excellent. If that's genuine, I 100% accept that.
That's
I 100% accept that. Okay, that's nice. We weren't really asking you to 100% accept it, though. Thank you.
yeah.
So I guess my question is, growing up in that foundation, was it kind of like a thing you just kind of swallowed without challenging it? Doubt is not indicative. Unfortunate.
It was just a little.
It's not unfortunate. I bet you all the girls before this girl, they all came out and they were like, they'll show them backstage sometimes, okay? Go check it out. It's pretty funny. And the girls, I bet, that ended up back there after he hit the button on them were like, listen, this guy is a fucking Christian incel. As soon as that button lights up, girl, you hit that shit. You hit it real hard. Hit it like Bob Larson slaps people with the Bible. All right? You hit that shit. Get him out of here.
Power of Christ compels you, bitch.
All right? So, yeah. But I do think it's funny because it seemed like he was trying to accept her, and she's just too cute for him, right? And she's so sweet in how she lets him down. And he probably still went home and angrily was just, you know, going at it just... and being like, stupid bitch, reject me! Fuck you! You know, like, poor dad, I guess.
Intense, and that's all. It felt a little bit like
Overwhelming?
yeah.
Yeah, you were a little intense, and it felt like you were interviewing them. And not for a job, to be a nun at your church, in which you're a pastor. And nobody wants that.
Yeah.
So the good news is this beautiful girl here ends up meeting the cutest guy right here. And they do actually go on a second date. It's very adorable, but I basically wanted to just show you guys this guy and how intense he freaking was. I am just glad that this girl finally hit the
I
button.
had to read, but I'm not really adept at reading, if I'm like completely honest.
I don't know why you're a study.
And at the end of the day,
He just
if you
reads the
reject
Bible,
Christ
right?
the King, it's a no-go.
So you're a Christian.
100%.
Cool. I'm a Christian too.
Excellent. As a Christian, can you tell me a little bit about the gospel of Jesus Christ and how that goes?
Like, that sounds like an interview question, not a date question.
Yeah, I mean, like, the gospel is basically that Jesus was here and died for our sins, and yeah, his spirit guides us.
I like how he gave that little nod, too. Like, yep, that's the answer I'm looking for. Again, this is why this happens, sweetheart.
If that's genuine, I 100% accept that.
Yeah.
So I guess my question is, growing up in that foundation, was it kind of like a thing you just kind of swallowed without challenging it? Doubt is not indicative.
Like, is he trying to figure out... I feel like this guy is not looking for a date. He's actually trying to find women to join his harem so that he can run a compound because he wants to start a fucking religious cult.
Power of Christ compels you, bitch.
So, I do feel like there is a huge connection, as I'm saying, between Christians and the alt-right and inceldom, and I am having fun deep diving into that and figuring out all about it. So I think that we are going to continue to do that, and I thought that, you know, summing this up with watching the button would be a fun way of showcasing to you how intense these people can be. Because, man, that was fucking intense. It was intense, okay? but it was a lot of fun. And I plan on doing some Bob Larson streams soon.
Power of Christ compels you, bitch.
So stay tuned for that. Remember, we just talk about the extremist people here, okay? We're not here to poke fun at people for their religion. That's not what it's about. We're not even here just to pick on guys that can't get girls. It's a very specific subculture that we are picking on here. So if you're watching me and you are offended, instead of getting mad at me, go to the mirror, give yourself a good hard look, and ask yourself why. Ask yourself why my coverage on my channel could offend you. Are you a incel? Are you part of one of these extreme beliefs? Do you want to run a cult? Because if the answer is no to all the above questions, then you probably don't have a problem with me for real. So, no matter where you are and what you're doing, I hope that you all have a fabulous, fabulous, fabulous day. Don't forget to fap. Or pray.
Power of Christ compels you, bitch.
And I am going to see you all very, very soon with another one. Take care. Mwah. Bye!
Power of Christ compels you, bitch.
Bye, bitch.